Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are across the globe, we welcome you. My apologies for the few minutes delay. It was due to some technical glitches. I welcome you to another edition of our Citadel webinar series. And today I'm super excited because the speakers we are featuring today, every speaker is special, every attendee is special, every registrant is special. But today's speakers are, I know when I say legends in their own right. I mean, don't worry, we'll get to it and then you'll understand why I'm so excited when I say they are legends. As you know, we are B-K-O Citadel. We bring to you this webinar series fortnightly, and we try to feature people who we know can create impact and share their content experiences with us and with you attendees every fortnight. We're social, and I can tell you for free that right now, in case you try to attend the webinar on Zoom and it's full, because we have a limited number of spaces for the webinar, but that's not a problem. We are also streaming live on YouTube, even as I speak to you. So moving very quickly, I'm going to introduce our speaker for today. Is Chief Segun Odegbami. Sir, I welcome you. Thank you very much for your time. Indeed, I feel like just by relating with you, just by seeing you right now, I feel like I can also I can score some goals now just because I've seen you.
Surely with your lovely hairstyle. I like your hairstyle.
Oh, thank you very much. It's funky, you know. I'm not as tall as you, and I can't kick the ball like you, but I can maintain a good hairstyle. Thank you very much for your time, sir. We're also expecting another legend, Mr. Niyi Yusuf, to join us very shortly. But in the meantime, I'm going to read to you the profile of Chief Segun Odegbami. Please give me a second. Okay. Chief Segun Odegbami left secondary school in Jos in 1970, and then went on to train as a mechanical engineer at the Polytechnic Ibadan, from where he graduated with an HND in 1976. He started his semi-professional football career in Ibadan in 1971, playing for a few clubs between 1971 and 1974. He then joined IICC Shooting Stars in 1974 and won the Africa Cup Winners' Cup, 2 FA Cups, and 2 League Cups. Imagine. He retired from the club and from football in 1984, gloriously, I must say. Segun Odegbami played for the national team 46 times from 1976 to 1982, scored 23 goals, and was recognized as the second highest goal scorer in Nigeria's football history. Permit me to emphasize that again. Was recognized as the second highest goal scorer in Nigeria's football history and captained the team for 2 years. He represented Nigeria at 2 African Cup of Nations, or AFCON, first in 1978 in Ghana, and then in 1980 in Nigeria, and won it in 1980 as the highest goal scorer. He was a silver medalist at the All-Africa Games in 1978 in Algiers, and also went to 2 Olympic Games, Montreal in 1976 and Moscow in 1980. He made a member of the Order of the Niger, MON, in 1980, and first ambassador of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in 1998, and also was awarded an honorary doctorate degree of Bradley University, Ohio, USA in 2000. I'm sure you're wondering what Chief Odegbami has been up to after his resignation from football. Well, he currently is a sports consultant to several international bodies and multinational organizations. He is an ambassador to several national and international sports organizations, of the International Association of Athletics Federation, also known as IAAF. He's an athlete representative of the IAAF. Pardon me. He's a sports administrator, a sports marketer, a sports writer, publisher, television producer, and presenter. He's an educationist. I'm sure many of you know already. He's the proprietor of Nigeria's only multi-sport secondary school, SOCA. and he is the proud author of 4 books on Nigerian football and new licensee of Nigeria's second exclusively sports radio station. This profile has been a privilege to even read. Well done, sir. Thank you for agreeing to share from your wealth of experience with us today. Okay, I'm also going to introduce to you Mr. Niyi Yusuf. Mr. Niyi Yusuf also is a legend in his own right within the strategy and consulting space. I do say in Nigeria and internationally. He actually will be engaging Chief Odegbami today as he takes us through some leadership lessons from a life in sport. But let me quickly introduce Mr. Yusuf to you by reading his profile. I must say, in case you didn't know, Mr. Yusuf is one of the few people who enjoys first name recognition in the strategy and consulting space. Like, I mean, if I just say, if we're talking about consulting, I say Niyi, everybody already knows which Niyi I'm talking about. Mr. Niyi Yusuf is the managing partner, Verraki Partners, and also leads the social sector practice. Niyi leads the firm in its mission to transform African enterprises and governments via smart, future-focused solutions and business insights. His clients have always been the leading global and domestic companies in key sectors of the Nigerian economy, including banking, insurance, consumer goods, oil and gas, utilities, telecommunications, and health. Before this position, Niyi Yusuf served as the country managing director for Accenture in Nigeria, and he was responsible for all aspects of the firm's strategy, team, and operations. Prior to Accenture and Verraki, he has worked at Arthur Andersen and JKK in a career spanning a good 29 years. Mr. Yusuf graduated from Obafemi Awolowo University, Nigeria, with a combined honors, I'll say that again, with a combined honors, BSc in Computer Science and Economics. He's a fellow of the Aspen Institute, member of the governing board of the Corona Schools Trust Council. Corona, by the way, is a group of primary and secondary schools here in Nigeria. He's the vice chairman of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, expert in residence at the Lagos Business School, member of the Communication and Policy Committee of Faith Foundation, he's the chairman, of Junior Achievement of Nigeria. He's a director of Tomet Foundation for Youth Leadership and Entrepreneurship, among other education, business, and entrepreneurial and oriented NGOs. Whew. I welcome you both, sir. Okay, very quickly, I'm going to allow Mr. Yusuf take over as he engages Chief Odegbami to tell us, to share some of his wonderful experiences with us. You're very welcome, sir. It is indeed my honor. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Abisayo, and good afternoon, Chief Odegbami. It's indeed a pleasure and honor to have this opportunity of a fireside chat with you. I grew up in Ibadan, and of course, anybody that grew up in Ibadan in the 70s, we know Mathematica Segun Odegbami. And I also had the opportunity of watching your brother, Wole Odegbami, play for, I think it was Water Corporation also. And so I've been one of your silent, and it's indeed an opportunity and a pleasure and a privilege to have an opportunity to chat with you today. So I also played a bit of football, albeit in my Form 1, Form 2 days, and then I stopped when I got to Form 3 and decided that it really wasn't something for me. But the 2 years that I played, albeit amongst friends in school, a number of things I learned and I picked up. I learned about understanding failure, the need to practice, the need to work as a team, the need to have your best 11, to have focus, to have emotional ability, etc. And those are things that have helped me along the ways, including a high tolerance for stress, and being able to take risk. So if I may, if you can share with us today your first lesson, leadership lesson in sports. What was that lesson about, and what was the circumstances, or what were the circumstances that led to that leadership lesson? Because today I'd like to tease out beyond soccer, beyond football. This topic is football life lessons. And so what was the first major leadership lesson you learned from football, and what were the circumstances surrounding it? Okay, sir.
Well, first of all, let me thank you all for honoring me with the opportunity to be a part of this intellectual conversation. I have no qualifications like you in this field. As you all know, my background is just a simple game, which, but by the way, are you related to Chief Niyi Yusuf, who was formerly in the Nigerian Bureaus?
No, interestingly, but I think the two of us are the only Niyi Yusuf that I know.
Because he was a wonderful man who helped me along the way, in the course of my life. Okay, so yeah, as I was saying, my background is really in sports, and I got into it purely accidentally as recreation in school, and it was just fun to just go out there and play the game. And when I got to Ibadan in the early 1970s, people saw me playing and they invited me to go and play in a club, and I went and I started earning small money. And that was it. It just went on, and I had my wonderful career in football. But along the way, definitely, as you observed, you would have seen certain elements within that profession. It was not a profession for me, really. It was more or less a hobby that related with life. And later in life, after I had stopped, I had the opportunity to listen to Nelson Mandela, who said sweepingly, and he's not a flippant person at all, that sport has the power to change the world. He said sport has the power to change the world. For somebody of such stature, a global phenomenon, to have made such a statement in the presence of the whole world when South Africa was hosting the World Rugby Championship, there must be more than just going out there to play and kick the ball around and score goals. So it was something that resonated with me. Secondly, I visited the URI, University of Rhode Island, in the early 2000s. And I had the opportunity to attend a seminar where I met Bill Clinton for the first time. And this seminar was organized by the United Nations World Health Organization. And it was for Millennium Development Goals Initiative. And they were introducing a unit within the United Nations that was supposed to use sports to drive an innumerable number of causes in the world. That shocked me. They said we are going to use sports to drive illiteracy, disease, HIV, AIDS, unemployment amongst the youth, education, enrollment into schools, and retention in schools. And it just went on and on. And I could start to see the power of sports to do so many things, to such an extent that one day, visiting Jomo Kenyatta University in Kenya to sit with some consultants, I was working with the Nigeria Heart Foundation, and we were sitting with some consultants who were actually discussing urban renewal of the city of Mombasa in Kenya. The city of Mombasa is located on the Pacific Ocean, and it's a tourist destination. And they were doing an urban renewal design of the city. And here was I, a sportsman from Nigeria, retired sportsman, and they wanted me to sit with them to discuss the element of sports within urban renewal. It was an incredible lesson for me. I have just gone through explaining this to you to tell you the scope that I discovered of sports and life generally. That sports is involved in business, sports is in law, sports is in medicine, sports is in urban development, sports is in the environment, sports is in all aspects of life. You find this huge content of sports. It is a whole world, it's a whole planet of it. And through my experiences in all these fields, including tobacco, shockingly, tobacco. There's a book here, is somewhere here, I could show you the book. It's written about tobacco. I went to Ethiopia to the World Public Health Congress, and they gave me this book. It is about tobacco, and in that book, page 124, so I saw my name, and they wrote my name in that book as to some of the activities I was doing. So I discovered through time that the sport that I played, that was just going to the field to kick the ball and all of that, was a lot more than that. And today I'm learning again from you, just listening to you, explain to us those leadership traits that you find inside of sports. You mentioned failure, practice, teamwork, you're using your best team, perseverance, focus, single-mindedness. Those are all components that make for success in sports. So the appreciation of it is not automatic. But you see, you have people now, younger people now, who have the privilege of the experiences of some of us, the knowledge of people like you, to combine the two. For those who are in sports, those elements are very important. For those who are in all other spheres of life, those elements make for a success. Failure, for example, I'll just give you this side of failure so that you understand that in sports, we don't count failure as inability to achieve something. Failure, actually, it's like, I think I'd better illustrate it with the Olympic Games of 1992. 1992. It was not really failure per se, but it was a measure of success, and it will illustrate failure. When Nigeria went to Barcelona, 4 girls in our relay quartet, 4x100 relay quartet, and we ran that race, and the race started and ended. Nigeria didn't come first. Nigeria did not come second. The commentators ran the commentaries, on television. It's so quick. They ran the commentaries. Oh, America, blah, 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 Italy, France, and so on and so forth. It was when they now were playing back the replay that they even could see that Nigeria had a possibility of having come third or fourth. Our girls were on the tarmac. They stood in front of the big television screen that you find in those big stadia. And they were looking to see what position they came, because the race was so close for third position. They didn't come first. They held each other shoulder to shoulder. And the television screen repeated the end of that race. First time in slow motion. It did not show who had come first. It was so close. So they now went frame by frame to show who exactly breasted that tape in third place. And as they were doing so, repeating it, the whole stadium, 80,000 people, focused on the screen along with the Nigerian girls, because that's when they noticed that something had happened, which they did not see. What they saw was the person that came first, the person that came second, and maybe somebody came third, but that's not important. That's not important at all. But suddenly, here you are, 80,000 people, staring at this big screen and trying to make out who came third. So they showed it frame by frame by frame. And it just became clear Suddenly, they just saw that the Nigerian girls, by a hair's breadth, had crossed the line before the Italians. So Nigeria actually came third. Do you know the reaction? The girls, the 4 Nigerian girls, flew in the air, and started running around the track. And the stadium, the entire stadium, saw the jubilation, the level of it, because these girls were flying and running, happy. Not that they came first, they didn't win the gold medal, they didn't win the silver medal, but the struggle, how they came to overcome who was in third place to even emerge fourth. The stadium rose and started to applaud the Nigerian girls. Many years, decades down the line, in 2006, when the world was celebrating the centennial of the Olympics, 100 years of the Olympics, they were looking for pictures in the history of the Olympics to describe what it is to succeed, to win. They did not look for the person that came first in the different races that won the most gold medals, but the person that put in such an effort that 80,000 people started to hail, started to chant, started to celebrate, not first or second, but the nature of this victory. Single-mindedness, focus, determination to win, to succeed, it was more in the effort. And they picked the picture of 4 Nigerian girls who have gone into history now. Because when the centennial were to be celebrated, it was the 4 Nigerian girls that were celebrated. It was on CNN, it was on BBC, and they put a caption, everlasting caption: you do not have to come first to be a winner. You do not have to come first to be a winner. So that for me informs or gives me a good idea of failure, because failure is not inability to come first. Failure is actually a tool, it's a fuel that drives everything that will make you succeed. You have to, if you don't come first and you still win, the way our girls win, that you fail does not mean you can still not succeed. So I have just given you all of this. My thoughts are not well structured, and I'm not a teacher like you, I'm not qualified like you, but in the little stories of things that have happened in sports, I learned a lot of lessons. So I cannot pinpoint when I discovered that, failure is actually a tonic for success, that you need a lot of patience. You need to practice over and over again to perfect something. Teamwork is critical, because in football, you are not alone. You have to, we were taught that you have to, all of you, almost think like one. Everybody has their different gifts and talents, but you put all of this together and then you have to play like one. Because if you don't play like one, that means you are playing discordant tunes, and everybody will be playing individually and it's not unified. There's no harmony. So we learned this, that in a team game like football, you almost have to think like one. And what else? Your best 11. Oh, you have to always play your best 11. I'm just going back to the things that you said. All of those things along the course of my experiences in football, those things started to come to the fore to such an extent that now you have invited me to come and speak like an expert on the subject.
Thank you, sir. I mean, two things I picked from that struck with me. First is that failure is not the end. Failure is could be a tonic for you to re-strategize and do well. And I think the second thing would be that famous quote of President Roosevelt of US, who says, "It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, but credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, who is marred by dust and sweat and blood, those who strive valiantly. Who else? Who comes short again and again? Because there is no effort without error and without shortcoming. And I think that
Brilliant
it's part of
quote.
what you've spoken about. Yeah. And I mean, it's a longer quote than that, but I thought that was just one element of it that speaks to it, that never give up. Never give up. But I think if we transpose that a bit, and let me stretch, because I also know you are also a politician. So in football, and I will say in sports, Nigeria is united, right? So we may have 11. We may have our 11 boys from one region. It doesn't matter. So far as football, we just want to win. And so we play as a united team. But when it comes to governance, when it comes to the way we govern the country, we are not that united. What are your thoughts? Are there lessons we can learn from a life of and put that into governance, and how perhaps if we became sportsman-like, we can hopefully have better governance?
Well, unfortunately, I will disappoint you because I was a sportsman, and what sport taught me has nothing to do with what I see now in politics and in governance, particularly anything related to that is political. You know, when we were sports people, we didn't think of you being Hausa or Igbo or white or black or whatever. It had to do with the skills that we had, that we all had to put on the table. And each one could not do it on his own. You needed the other to be able to make it whole and to succeed. And we had our country as our goal. We were doing it for country. We were doing it for people who were also united, because we saw them on the terraces and everybody was one. But the reality of life is that, which we are seeing today manifest even across the globe, is that, you know, those considerations outside of sports, that's why I said I'm disappointing you, outside of sports, they really do not sustain that well, particularly in politics. In business, they could. But you mentioned politics. I was in politics. So that's the lesson I learned, that in politics, you see, ethnic considerations come in. Status consideration comes in. Even within a tribe, within the Yoruba itself, in Ogun State, for example, you have to come from either Ijebu or Remo or Egba. You didn't see that kind of unity that you saw, which is almost natural for us in sports. It is not in real life, particularly in politics. In business, it is less so. You don't care who the other man is, provided he brings their own talents and gifts and knowledge to the table. But unfortunately, in politics, it is not so. And that is why the world as a whole is how it is. Can you imagine that in 2020, probably one of the greatest issues we are discussing in the world today is racism. Racism, the difference in color. When we are the same, it is creating issues even in America. It is creating issues between black and white. It is creating issues even amongst us here. You know, even us, we are blacks, we are Nigerians. But see what is going on. We are at a point now in our history, for the first time, when the educated, cultured Yoruba man will be thinking of an Oduduwa Republic, separating from the other. We are not thinking of coming together. We are thinking that, look, the Hausa man, the Hausa Fulani, the Yoruba man, the Igbo man, our cultures are so totally different that we cannot come together. It is not possible. That's what politics, you know, throws up, unfortunately, because that is one area of the human existence that I don't think matches what you find in sports and in business and the other aspects of life. It is such an area, like religion. You see, it is also like religion, where it is not about evidence or data. that convinces you. It is just about some stupid belief that, oh, I am superior to this person, which is not based on anything anyway. And you just hold firmly to those views. Arguments cannot resolve them, So I'm sorry, I'm disappointing you because that's not the answer you expected. But that is the reality, because you mentioned my experiences, going into government and politics. That's a totally different world, which is far away from the world of sports and, of course, the world of business.
So clearly there are lessons in governance. So there are lessons for those in governance that they can pick from sports. If we take a step back and look at the way professional sports is managed, so you will have a coach, and the coach is responsible, in my own view, for the daily grooming of the team and making sure the team becomes the best that it can be. But then you also have a team manager or a director of sports who is responsible for managing other stakeholders, such that the coach can focus on the business of football and grooming the team, while the director of sports or the team manager can focus on managing other stakeholders. And if I look at that and I compare it with with politics in Nigeria or governance, and so you have an Asiwaju Tinubu, who you could say is the team manager or director of sports, and then you will have the governor, Fashola, or Governor Ambode as the coach. And some would say that has worked well somewhat in Lagos. But we're saying something different in Edo, right? So from your own experience, how are football clubs able to balance the power share and the cohesion between the coach and the director of sports? Why is this working well in sports, and are there lessons we can learn? And again, in terms of leadership. So it could be in terms of the way an MD and a CEO manages the relationship, or an MD and a deputy MD, the way they manage their relationships, or it could be the way the godfather manages the relationship with the state governor. Different ways you can look at it, but what are your thoughts? What can we learn from the way coaches and directors of sports are able to work together and use that in our own daily lives?
Well, there is no single formula that works for all. And you will find that in real life, in sports really, a big manager like Pep Guardiola could earn deservedly £1 million every month. And you have another manager who is also a good manager like Jurgen Klopp, who could earn $200,000 every week or every month or whatever it is. So each one of them has their style, their strategies, their management, whatever it is. Each one is different. But generally, there are some general rules that you just have to follow. One, as in a team, you have somebody who is the team leader. He's the manager. It is going to be his philosophy. He sets out how this team is going to look like. And he goes out to hire the people that will carry out the different aspects of that team building that fit into his own philosophy, that he understands, that he thinks would understand the psychology of the sort of people he's bringing in. Because you are bringing in people with different characteristics, different qualities. Some are talented, but their discipline is zero. Some are hardworking, but they are not so gifted. You see, all kinds of players will come into the picture. But it goes even beyond players. There are so many other people who are tied to the team that are almost invisible. You know, you have the man on the field who is fixing the grass is as important as the coach who is teaching the players how to play. That's what I found out. Once I tell you this story, Brazil, we are going to England to play for the first time at Wembley Stadium. Brazil, they were going to England to play for the first time on Wembley Stadium many decades ago. And the English now got notice that a team was coming 1 month. Is it 1 month? 6 months before the game to come and look at where this Brazilian team is going to play. The Brazilians came to, the team came to England. They had agronomists, they had dietitians, they had physiotherapists, they had journalists, they had all manner of persons. There were over 100, not the players who are going to play, over 100 of them in different fields that came to England. Some measured the distance between the hotel where the players were going to stay and the field where they were going to play. The distance, how much time did it take them to traverse that distance? What is the quality of grass the players are going to play on? They measured the thickness of the grass so that they could go and get them the right height of stud to use. They went to ridiculous extents. What is the water they are going to drink in England? They took samples of the water just to be sure that it was something. What is the menu? What is the kind of food they are going to give them? They insisted on certain other menu for this. So you see, the Brazilians showed the world the detail to which you go to assemble a team of people that are going to do the job. You go to every extent to get all kinds of information that will come in useful for the team. The coach is there who goes there and develops a strategy for the team to play. He works it all out on paper before he sets out to get the players to do that. My coach showed us one night how this was done. We saw our names on a sheet of paper and arrows pointing in different directions. And when we asked him what it was, he said he was actually playing the game on paper before we went out to play it the following day. So it is all about planning and strategies, and this has to do with the leadership. It was the leadership that created this broad strategy and plan for everybody, and you had to fit into it. That's why when a team fails, the first person that goes is the leader, is the boss, the manager. He's the first person that is sacked because that team represents him. And there are as many managers as there are people, everybody with their own vision, with their own ideas, with their knowledge, and so on and so forth. That is what we find in sports. You would ask an Usain Bolt, for example, to tell you the major factors for his success. And he tells you the first one is his manager, his coach, because they are the same with him. They are the same with him. Why would you, if you brought another manager, would you still be the same Usain Bolt? He says no, because he would come with his own vision and with his own style, with his own philosophy, with his own training programs, and so on and so forth. So that's what I have found that may happen also in industry, that every manager has their own gifts. That you have a BSc and I have a BSc does not mean that we handle the same team and we come up with the same results. It doesn't happen like that, particularly where you are dealing with human beings. But in football, the manager is important. He controls the entire team. He gets the coach that can play out his own philosophy and strategy and plans. The coach goes there and does the teaching on the field. And he gets players that can actually carry out those things that he wants. It's not, every player is not the same. Some can easily learn, some cannot. But you still have to find a way to get them to do the things that you want them to do. And when you are doing those things, you find that these players have ego problem. Some think they know everything. Some think there's nothing you can teach them. And they come with that attitude. So you have to have patience. You have to have ability to deal with different egos, players who even earn more than you, who think they know more than you. The level of football you played is not as high as the one I'm playing now. So who are you to teach me? So they must respect you through the examples that you lay, through how you deal with them, how you speak with them, how you make them to see the vision of the team, because there has to be a team vision. And you all have to go out there, do it together, win together. And when you don't win, you come back to the drawing table together and start again, all over again, over and over and over and over, until you imbibe that philosophy and the way of that particular leader. So I don't know if that answers your question, but in sports, that's how it translates.
Yes, it does. It's important. Many things you just shared. First is information is critical. So if the Brazilians came to England 6 months ahead, so information is critical. It's important to understand the nature of the competition, to understand the hurdles you'll be facing, whether in business or in governance. I mean, you've also stated that preparation is key, right? Unfortunately, we tend to do 11th hour preparation in Nigeria, but the examples that you've shown, the examples you've shared, it's preparation is important, long-term planning is important, and that everybody on the team has a role to play. And it's the role of the leader to ensure that he brings the best of the team and is also able to deploy the team to the best of their strength and to the best of their ability. Leadership is important. A leader creates a plan. A leader recruits the team. And a leader also visualizes the game and the strategy for winning. Respect is earned. And it's earned by the example that the leader lays and the vision that the leader is able to set. And that the team takes the glory, but a good leader takes the blame when there's a loss. And that's where you find managers resigning and go. So those are very, very useful tips. If you are to choose loyalty or money, what will you choose, sir?
Loyalty or?
Money. Cash.
No, you are talking to the wrong person, because money is important. No, money is very important. You know, you need money to survive, to live, to, you know, but unfortunately, you know, I'm not a money person at all. So, and this is personal, I'm not a money person at all. So any day, I will choose loyalty over money. Any day, I'll choose loyalty over money.
Thank you. And I think that is important. And maybe before I give my reflection, maybe I should ask a personal question. Did you miss not playing in any of those international leagues, the Spanish League, La Liga, or the Premiership? Did you miss that?
When I look back, in a way, I miss it. I miss it for not the reason that every other person would think. I miss it because I could have had a platform to play the best kind of football I could have played in my life. When I see, for example, the pitches where these foreign clubs play, you go to Manchester City and you see the ground on which they play. That is the platform where you can play the best kind of football. It's just to give you the platform to play and exhibit the best of your gifts, of your own talent. If you take that same talent that you have and take it to a Nikon Stadium, you would not be able to exhibit the best that you possibly can because of the platform on which you are playing. So for that reason, Nigerians did not have, when I look back now, the opportunity to have seen me at my very best, because the time that I was very, very good, I was playing at Liberty Stadium, which had the best ground in the whole of Africa at the time. So it was a fantastic stage. It was like playing, music, either at, what's this hall? Apollo Theater in New York, or playing it at one local place, So what I miss most is not playing on those pitches where I could have flown truly like an eagle, So I don't miss the money. I don't miss the glamour. I don't miss any of that. It is nice, to be famous and all of that. Yeah, I'm famous. It is nice to, to have some money. I have learned in the process of my life, the true art of making money, the hard way, So I make my money now. I'm doing so many things I could never have done if I was a Maradona with all the money that Maradona has, So I have learned that in my own life, I don't miss much. I'm having a ball. The little things, the small moments, they are those things that you find truly fascinating, and they are the most fulfilling and satisfying. Those little things, the small moments, not the big things, the little contributions that you make that change something, that provide an answer, that leads to a discovery. They are not the big thing, they are small discoveries. You see, and the more of those small things that you add to life, the more of them that you celebrate, the more of them come to you. You see, if you celebrate the little pleasures and joys and successes and achievements, in a team, you add your own little content, not the big one. You're not doing everything by yourself, but the little that you add, and you celebrate it, you enjoy doing it. You find that more of it will come, and you will enjoy it. You'll be doing more and more and more of it. So I don't truly, in my heart, I don't miss not playing in Europe or Spain. I had the opportunity to play. I went 2 times for trials, and I didn't even do the trials. I was just having fun, and I came back because I was happy with my life in Nigeria. And somehow along the line, I found Nigeria a fascinating place to become a hero, that we didn't have anything in place. We didn't have the sophistication and the facilities and infrastructure of Europe. So here's a Nigeria where I could now be one of the providers of all of those things, and just provide one, and I will become a hero. I've set up a small school, and I'm a hero because I set up a small school in a small village somewhere. So it is a challenge. I'm setting an example for young people all over the world that, look, our environment in Africa, our environment in Nigeria, with all the challenges that we don't have this, we don't have that, is a perfect stage for you to come and make a little difference. And that little difference, if you celebrate it, if you enjoy it, more of it will come to you, and you would add to a new world that we are creating actually.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. I see that Abisayo is getting ready to jump in. But I think I like the way you ended that the challenges that we have, the crises that we have, the inadequacies that we have, present opportunities for entrepreneurs who are willing to take. And you also said little moments, little things do matter. And like one quote, it is often the little things in life that gives us the greatest meaning, and they do go on to form big memories. My last question is actually for my son. If I don't ask it, he's going to kill me. He's an aspiring footballer. So he says, what would be your advice? 3, we'll be doing WAEC next year.
Sorry, my network is, I think it's my Wi-Fi in Abeokuta here. I can't hear you. You repeat that question, please.
CR7. So what's your advice for an aspiring young footballer? What will be your advice as we wind down for an aspiring footballer, a secondary school boy who dreams to be a footballer? That's the
Well,
question for my son.
you know, the first thing the first thing I would say is that you are a Nigerian. You are a Nigerian first. So just realize that you are a Nigerian. And for being a Nigerian, there are, you know, so many challenges that you would face that if you were in England, you were an English person or a Spanish kid and all of that, you might not face. So as a Nigerian, there are challenges you have to face. And those challenges are the reality of your life in this country. I imagine that, you know, the vast majority of our youth are going to inherit a country that is one of the most backward in the world in terms of, and I'm saying it relatively because we could have easily been one of the fastest developing countries in the world now. We should have been one of the richest countries in the world now if we look at our antecedents, the things that we did in the 50s and 60s. How, for example, Pa Obafemi Awolowo was leading so many parts of Europe in development and advancement, and even in education. We could have been one of the foremost developed cultures in the world now. But here we are one of the most backward cultures in the world. That is the reality of young children who want to go into this world of sports, the world of glamour, the world of fame, the world of fortune, and all of that. The advice I will give is that, yes, that world exists. It is a big industry. The football industry is a huge industry. I describe it as paradise because when you get into it, there are so many opportunities for you in the world of football. We have not scratched the surface in Nigeria at all. We are not doing anything. You are speaking with me. I'm a champion. You know, I'm considered one of the great experts, the most accomplished sports personalities in Nigeria. I was invited to Harvard as a resource person to come to Harvard to come and be talking to people. One of 5 people in the world. I've been invited to so many places because they think I'm an expert. The only reason why anybody would think I'm an expert is because there's nobody. So there's a whole world of opportunities in Nigeria for our young children to explore within the football planet, within the sports planet, that are just there languishing. So there's space for entrepreneurship and innovation and creativity for our young. It is in medicine, it is in law, it is in the environment, it is in agronomy, it is in science, it is in so many spheres, all related to that of football. So as a young man, you want to go into football, welcome. I say happily, that is a world to go into. But to go into it, to be fully equipped to succeed in it, what your son is doing is absolutely correct. He's in school. He has to finish that school. He has to do that sport in conjunction with his school. There are opportunities where they can cohabit. You can have sport within an academic environment. The two is paradise. If you do one without the other, then you are reducing your chances of being a success in life. Because when you choose sport and you leave education and you fail in sports, then you are gone. Like we have a whole population of people who are like that. If you go to do your academics and you leave your sports, then that world that you dream, you want to be a Cristiano Ronaldo, you will never find that kind of fulfillment. So, but the two combining the education with the sport in an environment where the two can work together is your key to paradise. So son, do your work, finish it at 15 or 16, spend the next 3 or 4 years, go to a university or a tertiary institution that is friendly to sports, continue your sports properly, and then finish your first degree. Finish your degree at 20 or 21. Naturally, as a Black person, as a Nigerian, that's when we start to develop in sports. Those ones that tell you that they develop at 17, 18, they are playing in this, it's all a lie. It's all a lie. You know, our body matures and compares with that of Caucasians when we are like 20, 21. That's when we can compete with their 16 or 17. If you go there at 16 or 17, you are wasting your time. So your best bet is to spend the years between 16, 17, and 20 getting a sound education, because that prepares you fully for life. If you fail in one, you have the other. If you fail in the other, you have the one. And if you have the two, welcome to paradise.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. That has been a very enriching moment. In fact, someone sent me a comment and said, I'm so glad I joined. If an attendee is so glad they joined, what about me? I'm so glad I'm the host. And so you made a comment about how, you know, I learned from reading your article about the quality, how the quality of graphs is directly equal or proportional to the quality of the players that are produced. I never knew that, or I never would have thought that was how seriously we should have taken that graph and the playing field. But my comment is this. You said if you had, you know, we already know you as a legend with the grass at Liverpool Stadium that you played on. And you said the grass did not allow you to fly like an eagle. If you had flown more than that, you would have been an angel, not an eagle. No, and it was already flown. There are 2 eagles in one already. I don't know what more, how much more flying you want to fly. We thank God for that opportunity. Mr. Yusuf, thank you very, very much. I did enjoy your, you know, the kind of questions. I was very happy that I wasn't the one putting those questions, because there's experience to what you're putting for. And the good thing about it is that I am also learning. So, you know, we're learning from both speakers. I have several questions coming in, and I'm already getting that time may not permit us to take all. However, dear attendees, I just want you to know that apart from the fact that this is being streamed live on YouTube now, it's also going to be uploaded later on for anybody who could not have watched, or for you to, you know, watch again and again and learn again and again. And also for questions that we may not be able to take now, we definitely will respond to them via mail. But moving on very quickly, I'm going to read a comment from Dr. Tunde Pokola. He said, I was at the Olympic Games headquarters in Lausanne, Switzerland. I hope I pronounced that properly, in 2017. And I was so happy and proud to see many and varied pictures of Nigerian Olympic teams at the Olympic Museum. Chief Odegbami's description of the impact of sports was on point. Thank you for sharing, Chief Odegbami. So I just thought I should let you know that your attendees they're considering what you're saying to be on point. You already know anyway, but you know, let me just tell you. Okay, I have other questions here. Mr. Idris Oladipo said, are there really great investment prospects in the local sports industry in Nigeria? Sir, before you answer that question, would you like for me to read questions one after the other, or take them maybe in 2?
Whatever you like, it's up to you.
Okay, I think I prefer to take them in 2. Mr. Idris Oladipo said, are there really great investment prospects in the local sports industry in Nigeria? That's one question. And then, please hold on. I have another question that says, how do you deal with the star players or the star performers within the team?
How do you deal with?
How do you deal with the star performers within the team? You know how you've spoken to us about team spirit, collaboration, and all of that. But you have a Messi or a Segun Odegbami in that team. Everybody knows he's the one doing the magic. So how do you manage the, I don't know, everything that comes with that, so that you still project a team front?
Okay, well, you spoke about investment prospect in the local sports industry in Nigeria. Well, it does not exist now. The truth is, it does not exist. But the opportunities to create a proper industry and make tons of money exist because it is virgin. The sports industry is virgin in Nigeria. You can see that, you know, it's not the way you describe it abroad. Yes, people are mentioning monies. You just open your mouth and just mention some amount of money and sports is tied to it. we don't have that kind of climate in Nigeria yet. We don't have that kind of knowledge about the industry yet in Nigeria. We don't have practitioners that much in Nigeria. So to invest now, you have to be very, very selective as to what you do. You see, betting is not really sport, but you use sport to drive it. So there's money in betting. There's television, which drives the business of sports. We don't have it in Nigeria locally. We don't have good facilities, we don't have good coverages. So the whole industry is not driven by the most powerful vehicle, which is television in Nigeria. So, but there's opportunity to create that future for those who have the patience, who have the resources, and who have the time. You can actually create that future, and you can just, have a huge harvest. The second one is, how do you deal with star performers? Well, it's about ego. It's an ego thing. These star performers, when they come in, they are always a challenge. That's the measure of a good manager. A good manager deals with every performer individually, has an individual relationship with them. He knows how to manage egos. He knows how to manage those who don't have confidence. He knows how to handle those who are not so talented, who would feel overawed by the presence of those who are performing. So it's about how good a manager you are of human beings. And you find the same thing in industry. There's a guru in something who joins a company, and he wants to just assert himself and show that he's without him, nothing can succeed. No, you insert in every one of them that spirit of unity, that spirit of cooperation, teamwork, without which all of you cannot succeed. Alone, you cannot succeed, but together you can. So that spirit must be inculcated into the workforce, into the team. That spirit must exist, and it depends on the kind of leadership that you have who can teach this.
Thank you very much, sir, for that question. There is another question that says, Chief Odegbami, this question is from Dr. Tunde Popola. Chief Odegbami, what do you consider to be the qualities of a good sporting coach? And do you think those qualities are essential to be a good leader in other spheres, such as business or governance? I do believe you have spoken concerning that. Would you like to speak more?
Well,
or should I
just to add, this is my own view. When all the things I'm saying, I'm not saying with the authority of any knowledge from, I was not taught, nobody taught me anything. So, and I'm not reading textbooks. So my views may not necessarily be correct, but they remain my views. I'm just expressing them the way I have experienced them. So all I'm offering are lessons from my own experience. So when you are talking of the quality of a good coach, for example, I think it is intelligence. You need, if you want to manage any team, if it's a sports team, you must be supremely intelligent. You have to be more intelligent than all the people you want to teach, so that they will respect you, they would believe in you. Usain Bolt is 100 times better than his coach when it comes to sprinting. But you see, the coach is somebody that Usain Bolt listens to. When he says sleep at 7 o'clock, Usain Bolt will go and sleep at 7 o'clock, even though he knows that what he can do, even half asleep, is better than what that coach could ever have done. But you see, the coach has managed, with his intelligence, to tell Usain Bolt that, look, if you listen to me, you are going to succeed. I can teach it to you. I can show you how it's going to be done, and so on and so forth. So it is building that kind of confidence in yourself, in how you handle yourself, how you deliver yourself to gifted people, that will tell them whether to accept your teachings or not. So for me, it's intelligence. And when you lay out your plans to them, they can see the path, the pathway to success. It's not that you are just speaking in abstract. Say, we are going to do this, we are going to do this, you lay it out for them, and if we do this, we are going to get to this place. It requires intelligence.
I quite agree with you, sir. I have another question from Monsieur Enyabata. Please pardon me if I mispronounce your name. Please pardon me. My question is a follow-up to Chief Odegbami's statement on little things, moments you do to make people happy and succeed. Sir, looking back now, how do you feel being instrumental to Nigeria's first Olympic gold in Atlanta, when you supported Chioma Ajunwa after being banned for drugs? That's a very interesting question. I'll take another one so you address both together. This is from Detola Ajiboye. Sir, can you recommend some universities that are sports-friendly in Nigeria? Go ahead, okay. Sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, Chioma Ajunwa, I didn't know what was going to happen when I teamed up with her in 1992. She had a crisis, and all I did was invite her to my office, and I asked her to tell me the truth. I said, Chioma, I have known you for the past couple of weeks as a result of the BBC coming to Nigeria to do a documentary, and they used me as a consultant to reach Chioma. And the documentary was about the fastest sprinter in the world at that point. And that was Chioma Ajunwa, the fastest sprinter in the world at that time. She had just run the fastest 100 meters in the world. And they came all the way to Nigeria to do a documentary on this lady. And suddenly after that, they said they found out she had been on drugs at one race somewhere, you know. And then I went to her because one of those that came for the documentary said that that lady that we saw, that Chioma Ajunwa that we saw and interviewed, if she saw drugs, she wouldn't even recognize it. She was so local that if she saw drugs, she would not recognize it. They did not believe that she actually took drugs. This was a white man who works with, who did this job for the BBC. I heard that, so I went to Chioma and I asked, Chioma, did you tell me the truth? Now you have been banned. And she said, no, I did not take. And I just believed her. I don't know whether she took or not, but I just believed her. And everybody was condemning her. The minister at the time condemned her. Everybody was condemning her. And I just said, no, look, for whatever it is worth, let me support this young lady. Not because I thought she was going to win anything. And for the next 4 years, we had a fantastic relationship. I took her to the UK. She stayed in my house. She stayed in a friend's house. I was giving her small pittances every month. I had a coach for her and all that. And that lasted for 4 years. And even when she was going to the Olympics, she was not even winning her 100 meters. She was not even good anymore, so much at the 100 meters. And lo and behold, those little things that we did not think would fetch anything. And we didn't do them so that people would thank us. We didn't do them in the public glare. Those things now resulted in the only African female athlete that had ever won a field event gold medal at the Olympics. The only one. And that's Chioma Ajunwa. But it was not planned, really, at the start. Even though we helped her along, we got her a coach, we did what we had to do, and it yielded a result. So that's the story of Chioma Ajunwa. I think I have gone off air, I'm not so sure. But a sports university or sports-friendly university, if I'm still on, okay. There are some sports-friendly universities in Nigeria. Number one of them, I'm not advertising for universities, but number one of them that has the background, has the facilities, has the orientation, is the University of Port Harcourt, Uniport. And that's why it has won all the Africa Universities Games in the past 6 or 7 events. The second one, which used to be number one in Nigeria, is Obafemi Awolowo University in Ife. Their facilities were some of the best in the country at the time. Not the infrastructure, not the structures, the terraces, but the facilities for training and the environment of Ife. And they had the teachers, and they had the orientation. The philosophy of the university was to train athletes. But a lot of that is gone, but they are still sports friendly. And of course, then Ahmadu Bello University in Zaria. I know they have a superb basketball philosophy in Ahmadu Bello, and they do 1 or 2 other sports as well. So those are the 3 universities for me that are truly outstanding when it comes to supporting sports and helping develop sports people.
Thank you very much, Chief. I know that our time is fast spent. Please crave your indulgence. If it is okay by you, I can take a little bit more comments and questions, but if not, we will defer to responding by email.
Okay, so at 1:30, I should have to leave.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much for obliging that request. So there are a lot of very beautiful comments coming in. Monica GP Baker says, Chief Odegbami has inspired me so greatly today. Eniola Olajobi said, thank you so much for sharing these leadership points with us today. And Likita Ogba, Dr. Likita Ogba says, it is good to clearly educate the young that failure is possible, but don't remain at that point. I do agree. Also, someone else has said, pardon me, I have made up my mind to be a better person with my God-given skills in the corporate world where I play. Very interesting. What you have spoken to us about is about, sports and sportswear, yet someone has taken the message home to say that she will take it to her corporate world. Okay, what am I going to do with my own? Okay, I'm going to get back to you on that. Exactly what I'm going to make sure what I learned from you today plays out. Someone says, I am meeting you, let me correct that, seeing you in person for the first time in about 30 years of my life. That is Oluwakem. Thank you so much, Chief Odegbami, for your wealth of knowledge and expertise in all areas of life.
Wow.
Thank you very much. I can't stop saying this. If people are here pouring so much about having this experience, what about me? And I mean, I'm here engaging you personally. How do I feel? Okay, this is another question, pardon me. It says, this question is from Professor Bola Obadamosi. Between a local coach, Nigerian, in brackets, and the foreign coach, how do we balance our choice, especially given the problem of foreign-based players not fully respecting local coaches? Or can we build our local coaches to meet these international standards and earn respect? How do you deal with those non-conformers who get in trouble for not following the rules? Rules are important in sport. What about when running a company? What about when you need a star on your team, but he or she has a better opportunity elsewhere, but you don't want to lose them?
Well, many questions, he has asked there. Local coach and foreign coach. Well, that's a loaded question. That's a loaded question. And it is one of the biggest problems or challenges we have in the world now. It is that war of civilizations, that war of culture between us and them, between us blacks and the whites. And it depends on, what you believe, where you think, I've always said that, look, since the era, and this is not just limited to football, it's in all sports, since the era of a Stephen Keshi and his generation, where they played in Nigeria, they played their football in Nigeria. They went and played abroad in some parts of Africa. They went and played in Europe and actually did so well in Europe. They went and played at the World Cup and they were dominant in the World Cup. They played against some of the best teams and they excelled. So such an extent that we were number 4 in the world football playing country. So when it comes to playing, we had all the experience. They coached, they trained under some of the best coaches also in the world. Beyond that, they now went to get qualifications, acquire qualifications. And they did to the extent that any European would do. Any European, you couldn't get more than the European A license. Some of those our footballers actually went and got A licenses in Europe. So they had experience, they had qualifications. More experience than all the coaches, the foreign coaches we have ever brought to Nigeria, more experience. They had the same qualifications or even bigger qualifications than all the foreign coaches we brought to this country. They are Nigerians. So from that generation, why should any Nigerian, any black person now start to say that we are not good enough? That is the worst kind of inferiority complex that you can ever imagine. So as far as I'm concerned, there is no issue of foreign coach anymore, particularly in this war of civilizations. When the black man today, they are saying Black Lives Matter, and it is driving the conversations around the world, the cultural and political conversations around the world. We should not even consider that we are not good enough. We are more than good enough. And those players who are playing in Europe, the fear that we have, oh, they are playing in Europe, they will not respect the local coach. We are not talking of a local coach who is coaching Remo United. We are talking of the Stephen Keshis, the Finidi Georges, the Emmanuel Amonekes, the Joseph Yobos that have played it all, had the qualifications and come back, and they can coach anybody around, any team around the world. They will not give them an opportunity anyway to coach in Europe or in America out of this stupid discrimination that is dividing the whole world. So we must project our own. We must not even start to think foreign. The more we think foreign at all, the more we are diminishing who we are. We might as well go and get, you know, the British to come and rule us again in Nigeria, because we have failed woefully. We have failed woefully. We should start to think of creating this new world, that we are capable of creating this new world, this future. We create it ourselves. We are going to inherit it ourselves. We have the people. I listened to Niyi Yusuf summarize some of what I've been saying. And without scripting, without doing anything, he's just capturing in summary all the essence of the things that I've been saying without structure or substance. These are Nigerians. These are brilliant Nigerians who are well read. We are capable of anything. So the issue of foreign coach or no foreign coach, we should just dump that aside. We have Nigerians who can do that. So I don't remember the second question, but I think
the second question you had you had responded to before. Okay, thank you very much, sir. Mrs. Wuraola Young, pardon me, and also I have Shola Akinyo. They have been raising their hands to ask a question. So, Ms. or Mrs. Young, you are unmuted and you are live. Can you go ahead and ask your question, please?
Okay, thank you very much, sir. I joined very late, but I caught amazing lessons already. My question is, how do we get our kids into active sports? Not necessarily so that they compete, but as a lifestyle. Because I find that they're in schools that don't encourage them to be active. They go for PHE, but they only do PHE in the classroom and not on the field. That's my question.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
That's a fantastic question. And let me say this, that, you know, I am a consultant to the Nigerian Heart Foundation. Nigerian Heart Foundation. I am a champion of non-communicable, the Agency for Non-Communicable Diseases in the World, the Nigerian chapter. I am a member of the advisory board of Exercise is Medicine. It's an American organization, but it's global in nature. It's exercise is medicine. And I will just say this thing to Wuraola, that look, from our studies, don't let me say studies, from my experience, because when I say studies, I will not have to produce evidence. Niyi will know this. From our experience, when you have a young person who takes to exercise and sport, not necessarily for competition, but sustains this through their lifetime, there is the greater chance that they will live 10 years longer than the one that does not imbibe that culture of exercise. So exercise is primary. In the body of Exercise is Medicine, of which I'm a member, I've been telling them that, you see, anybody who is sick, when you go to see a doctor and they start to prescribe for you, the first prescription, not the last prescription, would be for them to tell you that exercise is the first. And you exercise. Just keep this body, which is a machine, keep it going, you know, oil it properly, service it properly, you know, and you do all of those things through your diet, through your physical activity, through the environment that you live, through the stresses of life that you avoid, through all of those things. Keep this, your body, well and going. So Wuraola, do not let the schools determine the amount, the quality of exercise that your child gets. You be the champion of giving your child and inculcating in them the values of exercise. And those ones, you will live better, you will live longer, you will live happier. What more are you looking for? So don't wait for the schools. Get your child to be doing their exercise in the house, outdoors, spend more time outdoors, take them to the park, let them run, let them jump, let them exercise their brains. Just keep moving. Just keep moving. So, my own motto as a member of the exercise medicine is just move, live longer. Just move. Don't sit. Don't be sedentary. Don't sit in front of the computer day and night. No. Go out there and run and jump and play and do all of those things. And I'm telling you, without statistics, that your child will live 10 years longer, at least.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. I like that you say without statistics. You have seen it happen. Well, as for me, I'm already trying to jump around, and all of that. But let's see. I don't know if it will make me a footballer, but I'm on it. Okay, dear Shola Akinyode, you have been raising your hand for some time. Pardon me for not attending to you now.
Last question.
That will be the last question. So please, Shola Akinyode, please go ahead with your question, and that will be the last question to be answered live for today. All others will be attended to via email. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. I feel so honored to speak to Chief Segun Odegbami and Brother Niyi Yusuf. I'm calling from Gainesville, Florida. I just would like to ask Chief Odegbami, for us learning from your vast experience, looking back at the IICC, at the Green Eagles, what will you look back and say, if I knew I could have done better, so that we too, we can learn from that? Thank you, sir. So an opportunity to chat with you, sir.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Akiyode. Well, that's a good question. I think about it myself from time to time, that I wish I knew when I was playing the things that I know now about how to have made myself perfect, how to have become better than Ronaldo, how to have become faster than Usain Bolt, how to have become, good, brilliant at everything that I did as a sports person. I wish I knew then what I know now. So what I missed, what I did not do then, which is what I'm telling young people to do now, is that to apply yourself, because you now have the knowledge from experienced people like us, to apply yourself even better than you think you are capable of. You see, if I realized the opportunities that football could fetch me, what I needed to do better, done my practices better, taking my practices, my training better, being more disciplined, listened better to my coach, done a few things just better. She is talking about flying like an eagle. What flies faster than an eagle?
An eagle.
I would just have been swearing like crazy, but I didn't know enough. So I didn't take it seriously enough. I was just enjoying it and having fun and not applying all the knowledge and experiences and teachings and all of that people like Niyi Yusuf are now passing on. And as they pass them on, and it is not restricted to sports, it's in all spheres of life, that you see those little bits and pieces, those tips that they give you to hone your talent, to just make them a bit sharper, because it's in the little things that make the big difference. You see, just act a little bit faster, shooting the ball, act a little bit, close, do one inch longer, spend 30 seconds doing this better. Those are the things that make the big difference in the careers of sports people. And so it is also in the rest of life. Perfection. Go and perfect your art. Don't think that you know it all and you won't train and research and work hard and, burn the candles on both ends and, do all of those things. because there's a whole world to conquer. We don't know enough at all. We think we know, we don't know enough. There's a whole world of opportunities there to go and learn and get better and better. So that's my feeling, that I didn't have the knowledge I have now then. I would have been a much, 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 much better player and even a much better person. So otherwise, let me use this opportunity to thank all of you for giving me this opportunity. And I've thoroughly enjoyed myself. I loved the question from Yusuf, because he challenged me actually, because I didn't prepare for this way. But yeah, it was really, really refreshing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for your time. We do appreciate your time and experience you have shared with us today. And to all our attendees as well, we thank you. To Mr. Yusuf, thank you very, very much for engaging Chief in this wonderful fireside chat. My prayer is that in a couple of years to come, possibly I will be privileged enough to engage your son as well. And by then, he will be, you know, in fact, not only known across the globe, but beyond the globe as well. I will be really, really honored to have the opportunity to engage in this way as well. Thank you very much. And I wish you the best as you go on. And by the way, I forgot to tell you, sir, I'm also a consultant. It's just that I consult only on personal issues for now. As time goes on, I guess I'll get better. Thank you. That has been another edition of our Citadel webinar series. For all those attendees whose questions we were not able to answer, I do apologize. We have never really taken this much time, but because of how engaging this session was, you can see for yourself exactly how it turned out. We will respond to all questions that were dropped both in the chat box and Q&A, and you will get a mail giving you the link of where to watch this again on YouTube. We are social. Our YouTube channel is B-K-O Citadel. Please join us anytime we're here and subscribe so that you can get notifications when we post content like this. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your week. Ciao.